this video, after creating the first project in Anima, we're going to select the project in the welcome screen and click on Open. Then the scene browser will appear, as you can see, and we already have selected the only scene we have, but remember we could have more than one, and we click Open again. Perfect. Now, before starting working in Anima, we need to learn how to use and how is structured the Anima interface. Okay, we will start from the header, which we know a little bit more than the rest. Well, in the middle we have the Anima Lite logo. We know that we are working with the Lite version instead of the Pro. At the top left we have the Anima logo. With this we access to the menus of the program, and on the right we have the three icons, a bit different, but they do the same thing we are used to in other interfaces, which are close the program, maximize, and minimize. Okay, so in the middle we have the main view we will be working with. This is the 3D viewport. This is the main window into the 3D world where we are going to create our crowd simulations. Okay, we will talk about the navigation of the 3D viewport in the next video, but for the moment we need to know how we can use the interface, how we can customize it, and what these panels are. Okay, at the bottom of the viewport we have the timeline. This is an important element. We will talk about this in a specific video, and it's important because Anima itself is made for animations. Crowd simulation in animation. Okay, as I told you, it's possible to create static characters. Actually, we will do something with them, but the main focus of Anima is animation. For this reason, a timeline is a must-have. Okay, then what we will look at now are the two groups of panels we have on both the left and the right side. We will start with the left one. Okay, these panels are of the same type. Why I say this? Because they are, as you can see, at the top left of the header of the panel, there is written in yellow, library. Okay? The yellow text is about the type of the panel, the panel type. And then we have the kind of content we have inside the panel. Okay? In this case, the first panel at the top is the templates, which are sort of a group of elements for the simulations we can create. We can use those we already have here, and we will learn how to create new ones. Okay? Then we have the library actors. Well, these are the characters, the models we will use for our simulations. Okay? These are the models we can choose to use in our animations according to our needs. And then at the bottom of these library actors, okay, we have two tabs. The first one, the highlighted one, is the Actors tab. The second one is the Motion Clips. I will left click on it, activate this panel, okay, and these are the motion clips. These are the actual animations we will be using by assigning them to the actors according to our needs. So as you can see, we can stack one on top of the other the panels. We can overlap them using tabs. So we can do a couple of interesting things. On the right side, we have 4 different panels. The first one is the mode panel. In Anima, there are 2 working modes, drawing and editing. We will see both of them. The drawing one is the main mode in which we will be working. Okay, and here there are several icons. We will see what about them. Then right below we have the project panel. This is a sort of outliner. Well, actually is an outliner. Okay, those who comes from Maya will understand, or a sort of a hierarchical view of the contents of the scene. At the moment there is no content, so there is nothing here inside. But it's quite important, we will see in several occasions. One of those is when we have too many elements in the viewport, in the scene, overlapping, so we cannot really select clearly here, then we could use the project panel to do that. Okay, we'll see about that. Then the third panel is another type of library panel, and this one contains the backgrounds. Well, in this case, the backgrounds in Anima comes with 4 of them, are the actual 3D environment on top of which we create the crowd simulations. We mostly will be using these, but we will see how to import from outside, okay? Inside Anima. And then we have the property panel. In this case, this panel is empty since it depends on the current selection. Since we don't have anything in the scene, then the properties panel is empty. Okay? As soon as we have an element here in the scene, we select it, then the property panels will populate with options. Okay? So this is quite simple. One thing now I want to point out is how to customize and change the layout, or better to say, workspace of Anima editor. Okay? One thing I want to change, and I usually do every time I install Anima again, is to change the position of the library backgrounds. Why is that? Well, on the left side we have all library panels, all the libraries we will be using in Anima. So why don't we change position and we move the library backgrounds from the right side to the left side? So how is possible to do that? Well, quite simple. We go to the header, we left click and drag, and I move this panel. I still dragging. I haven't released the mouse button, and as you can see, this panel is floating. If I release the button, the panel keeps here in this position. I can change his position, no problem at all. Why this solution could be useful? Why is that? Well, consider that you could be using more than one monitor, as I'm doing now. You actually cannot see this because I'm working with just one monitor with this video, but we could move, for example, several of these panels on another monitor to get more space for the 3D viewport and have more space to work with. Okay, so this is a reason why we could undock these panels and keep them floating. Okay, now to dock a panel, it's exactly the same, more or less. We just have to left click and drag and move it where we could dock it. As you can see, according to the position, following the position of my panel and mouse cursor, an highlighted area will appear. Okay, this area will tell, it's a sort of preview of where the panel would dock if I would have to release these the button. Okay, if I release the button here, for example, well, the panel docks exactly in that position. Now I want to try to optimize as much as possible the space we have, especially since we are working with just one monitor. Okay, so what I'm going to do, instead of having the templates panel, backgrounds panel, and actors panel, both templates and actors smaller than before, then I will do this. I will click and drag and just place it on top of the templates panel. And what happens? Well, it generates tabs. Okay, so this is a way of doing it. And keep in mind that we can resize the panels as much as we want using these handles here. Okay, now this is quite simple. Now each time we make a change, this is stored in Anima. So next time, if I should close the program and then start it again, I would have this workspace layout again. Okay, we don't have to save anything. But what about getting back, revert back to the default layout? How we can do that? Now, this is quite simple. We go to the top left, Anima logo, we click on it, we access to the Workspaces menu, and here we have two options. The first one is to recover or roll back to the last session layout. Let's say that we opened and closed Anima and open it again. Then the previous session the previous time we opened Anima and close it, that is the last session. Okay, so we could make changes and then roll back to the previous session. Or we could click on default workspace and then get back to the first one, the default one. Actually, I will do this. I'm going to click here, and as you can see, the library backgrounds comes back here on the right side of things. Okay, so just click and drag over here, dock it, and that's it. Quite simple. Now, let's talk about again, but at this moment, a bit more in detail, of the header of the panels. Okay, if I go to the header, two group of elements appears, one on the left and one on the right. On the right, we have a button, an X button to close the panel. Actually, we are going to do this so we can see how to get it back. Then we have a button to undock this panel, and then a button that let us change the viewing mode. This is to change to list view, and this icon here is to change to thumbnail view. I personally prefer this, okay? But you can change and use the one you prefer. Okay, perfect. So now what I'm going to do is just to explain you how to hide and get back a panel. Okay, I will click on this button to undock it. So we can do this way also. And then I will click on X. Perfect. How we can get it back? Well, some of you could think, well, we're going to the menus and look for something like view menu. We have no view menu. In the workspaces, we have just these two options. So we could click on default workspace. Actually, it works. But yes, we have it back where it was. So we close it again. And how we can do this without having to roll back to the default workspace or the last session? Quite simple. We go to the top right in the mode panel, and here you have several icons. Some of these are in black, and these are the visible panels, while the gray one is the hidden panel. In this case, as the tooltips says, the background library. So I click on it, and then I have the library backgrounds back visible. So I click and drag, and I will do this again. So I can close it, and I can go here at the top right, mode, panel, click on this icon, and then I will have back the library backgrounds where it was, in the final position in my layout. Okay? So this is quite simple. The last thing I want to talk about is always in the header, okay, and is this search field. As you can see, this search field appears in almost every panel. Some panels no. In this case, the mode, project, and properties is not possible. It doesn't show, but in case for those of the type library, yes, it does. What is used for? Well, this is used to filter the content of the panel. Let's say that I'm going to type W. Then a little drop-down menu will appear with all the elements that contains in their names the W. Okay, I will keep typing OM, and as you can see, appears woman. This is just a suggestion. Okay, I can keep this and have all the elements, all the actors, filter by all those elements which contains in their name the WOM letters. Okay, now this is quite important to keep in mind that unless you clear that filter, you will only show these actors. So sometimes at the beginning you could think, well, there is something missing, and having not cleared the filter could be the reason. Okay, so we just click on the X, and that's it. Okay, quite simple. So as you can see, we can customize the Anima interface and workspace as we want. It's a quite straightforward interface, as the program wants to be straightforward, okay? But it's quite simple to be managed. So for this video, we have nothing more to say. See you soon in the next one.